if y'all have never been in like a high tension like situation where like something has gone wrong with the protest, like a lot of people don't understand that what tear gas does to the body. So tear gas doesn't just like clear out an area, it shoots your adrenaline up sky high. So when you see
Hmm.
people at protests who get tear gassed and then all of a sudden they're starting to destroy property and like flip out, that's actually the chemical in tear gas will make you wild like that. So, and what's so interesting about it, well, interesting for lack of a better word, is I have a SWAT manual that goes through like all of the different chemicals that they can use, like for crowd dispersal and things like that. And some of those chemicals, y'all, do certain things, like specifically. And like people on the outside don't understand what causes situations like that to get out of hand. Like me and Ja got the opportunity to talk to some of the officers that was there, and I got like this really incredible experience to when I pulled up there was a cop car being destroyed. All right, and that was the first thing I saw when I pulled up. And later on, like a year later, when me and Ja like talked to these officers, one of them said he was the cop in the car. And I was like, I did not even realize there was a cop in the car. And so it
Hmm.
was interesting to get like his perspective and how he like and what happened. So it was weird. You've got these two people in the same moment, but they're experiencing two completely different things. Like, like it's just really interesting to have conversations like that,
Yeah.
but yeah, a lot of people like they don't understand, like one of the things I was telling him was that everything was fine until the tear gas flew. That it's like, and usually with situations like that, that's what happens is you have protesters, the cops or whoever the officials are get tired of waiting for the crowd to leave, and they make a move, and then it just goes back and forth until,
So
and
it's
then
not a good thing.
right, and then you also got to look at the media too, right? Because the media made it look like all of Charlotte was burning, and it was one block.
They did definitely do that.
Right,
It was
like
crazy. This poem is, I'm going to read this first one here. Um, it's basically talking about the reflection in the mirror. And so if you take the reflection from a one person and take it from a people, if you take it from America in itself, then it will make all the sense, right? So I'll read this poem and I want you to think about it from that aspect, America looking in the mirror. And when will you hear my calling? Said the boy, staring into the old man buried in his mirror. The salt and pepper calling the maturity of his journey to surface. He who can't see his own broken. Father Time has found the victory dance within his heartbeat. He is still unwilling to bend. Seems his fight has yet to learn what defeat is. Even though misfortune tattooed appraisal signs within his smile, America had her time with him, song and danced him until he questioned his own body that he once lived in. I've witnessed men like this, saw them search for their pride, they're already buried in their gamble, like a crapshoot. I've watched grown men fan themselves with pity party antics, hoping for just a piece of heaven. I've been there, hid my own pride for a moment to smell only what my fingers could touch. Just a little taste, enough to wet my own whistle. I've always known this dream wasn't mine. Always knew it wouldn't spell my name correctly on a deed, on a checkbook. I've known even if it did, they'd still make me wait 15 days for approval, knowing that I was 15 minutes away from losing what had already been taken away. Ain't no safe haven for people like me. Not when prison and bounties are best friends. Not when county jumpsuits fit certain people perfectly, like they were made to. Like cold fingers and furry gloves. Ain't no heaven here for these folks where rich folks live. When fear can noose its way around a vote, when a rapper can spend 2 minutes around himself telling you about a black agenda, but can't spend 5 seconds on a voter's registration drive. Yes, he never heard about right to vote act, can't spell congressman without saying he didn't vote for him. I've seen their kind before. Celebrity holding their masculinity, choking their testicular fortitude into quiet rooms and private meetings. I'm not asking for your opinion, not today. I've already gotten those. Watched your stardom dictate where you live, who your friends are. I wonder how your shoes feel. Are you floating to what Master's voice box says? He who writes the checks tells you what your name should look like. I've often wondered how you eat your eggs in the morning. Are they sunny side up or the way grandma made them back when the hood felt safe, back when Kool-Aid made its way to everyone's dinner table? I've seen your kind before money, before cameras, before salt and pepper made your beard sing. When will you hear my calling? Said the young boy, staring at the aging man. The face that no one asked how he did was feeling this morning, how his shoes feel. The little boy who could not recognize the man he had turned into. When will you hear his calling? Or at least see his face inside?
Okay, so this poem is about uh, the protests and the quote unquote riot that happened on Old Concord Road. All right. Tear gas has a smell you don't forget, sweet as southern magnolias, blooming clouds across fists, trying to grasp freedom. Chemical and sulfur as molasses burning up across over the hill, a telltale of something coming. It lingers like Mason Dixon lines and raspy whispers from our grandfathers. I wondered why so many whites I know harbored so much hate for those that built their stolen country. Last night, there was a city needing holding, so many I call family, no matter how different our skin tone. So I did what I could in the moment and got engulfed with all the history flushing out of a hole. There is a buzzing from the sound of the gas can that pings around your head. There is a buzzing on your skin you have a hard time letting go of. When all that emotion is rocking cop cars, feel the prayers prickle against you, never making it to heaven, getting lost in the fog and sobbing inside under the thunder of 100 drum heart. Hell shining down from helicopters like planted search warrants. Someone screamed rioters in my left ear, innocence in the other. So much sulfur. They say hell is full of it. When I came home, even a shower couldn't swipe the smell still in the cotton of my clothes. So this is way after. So I used to be like pretty, I used to be like, right now I've found a balance, but I used to give everything of myself to causes and then realized that that wasn't healthy either.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then when I slowed down, I also like didn't know how to find a balance. So it was like a pendulum just swinging from all or nothing to like, just lethargic, So I was like trying to find the balance. So here's that. All right. So it talks about pulling out the shirt of the as the tear gas. So I pulled out the shirt today for the first time since it happened and held it to my face, breathed in the sweet smell of southern magnolia strangling tear gas. I bought a new pair of boots today, the kind where the laces never loosen their knots, the kind where the clips bend back into the seam with Doberman grip. I have laid here, beside this river, imagined I was as free as the flow, and I have ignored the red in the water. Imagine it melted sunsets running off to the horizon. I have laid here and forgotten that rivers are not free. that they cannot escape the trenches dug into their bodies. I have forgotten I am a child of the wind, all striped in windigo, a child born of war drum, and when I was little, I would press my palms to the earth. I could hear it, heavy in my heart, a thumping pulse through the woods, through the rocks. In fear, I always thought it was the devil coming for me, some brood or great beast. It took me 17 rotations to realize it was my great grandmother's tribe, 17 years to realize it was my own veins burning beats of battle. 3 years I have waited on the blood to breathe itself back into circulation. I have forgotten how it stings, how it sings, how Wendigo is a raping stomach, how it carries the desire to let it consume me and the hunger of its thunder, the lightning bolts of friction, atoms of brilliance, striking all at once through my arms. All I want is to burn the candle at both ends, to send a strike of that lightning down the wick, to burn, burn so bright I bleed flames, to shoot the sun down with a shotgun throat, swallow the sky whole, to be ravaged by all four winds, to succumb to the art, to the madness, to the war, to the light, to the darkness, to bite down on the pulse of life till the sting slices me like oranges, so I can taste the juice of my own truth. I have forgotten the warrior, the pulp of the matter. I have forgotten the wind feeding the fire, how it rises up from your boots, how it consumes everything you thought was human, leaves nothing but a skeleton and a spirit. I can't sleep in this bed anymore. The tribe has come back to my porch. The dead have returned to remind me of who I was, of how I was born. I pulled out the shirt today and I remembered, y'all. I remembered what I came for.
Mm. Yeah.
What are we gonna go do? Let's go do it.
The never and the ever. I will never be 20 years old again. I have grown into a woman who lacks the ability to bullshit. Larger breasts and hips, lips listlessly speak my truth now. I will never be single again. I carry my yesterdays rolled up under my arm, shouting headlines like a newsie pushing pennies, pulling a red wagon of pain through quicksand boxes of motherhood, destined to be misunderstood. I will never be black between your sheets. I will never be crazy for your cocoa curiosity and sentiments about body parts on white women. I will never live in your shoes, but still well enough to lie in your bed, willing to walk through fire, burn my body, cremate my raging white privilege until I am as burnt out as you. Even still, surrendering to simply being a marshmallow stuck in the campfire of eyes that stare too long at the white light. I will never be stupid again. I keep a Rolodex that spins on repeat, bent ear tag corners, red strike through lines, Post-its flailing off the sides for all the times time taught me to get back up. Dedicated notes section scribbled in crimson tears crusted to the cards of this just a secretary life. I will never be the glitz and glam you strut down the street. I prefer muddy boots and soiled hands, tanned skin from staying out in the sun too long, and sweaty shirts from hard work. The stench of success instead of perfume. I will never be a super freak in bed, but loathe boring sex, loathe boring in general, crave the connection of human to human, skin to skin, stagnant, static stars that are already dead as we reach for them, like the skin of dead men fallen at my feet. Futurama of nothing special if I stand still. So I sprint into the sunrise of tomorrow, where I will be everything you are not, but everything that someone else has sought.
At some point, everyone wants to be known for something, at least celebrated for the good deeds they've done. I mean, everyone deserves a medal, a trophy, a some sort of certificate that says you've done a great job, or at least some sort of acknowledgement for rendered services. The same should go for planting trees. I'm talking big trees, like the giant trees that drop leaves from heaven's front lawn. The ones that usually shade plantations but never stretch far enough to the cotton fields. The large trees that safety nets the voices of praying slaves. Do they plant them knowing God wouldn't hear those prayers, knowing somehow those prayers would dissolve before they reach the strongest branches? See, no one speaks about those hands, the fingers that cover those seeds with the earth before blood stains become their nourishment. Not sure if it was oak seeds or pecan trees or maybe southern pine trees planted, knowing one day Black men would decorate them with ripbacks, dangle from leaves that kiss the bottom of the clouds where God's tears wash them away and they become memories. I wonder how they felt when they planted them. Did they hear our ancestors crying? Were their footsteps branded in the dirt roads? Did they know Africans would one day decorate those branches? I'm not talking about any tree. I mean, big trees, the great big ones, the ones that stretch from the foot soles of our Creator. Who decided where to place them? Whose hands should massage them beneath the soils? If left-handed planters, did that mean that leaves would sway more to the right? If right-handed planters mean that trees would woo against the whistling winter winds, how much water did they need? Which slaves dug the hole? Which slaves pleasured the roots with fresh water? If Sam, if Sam was 6 when he planted the big tree, when that tree finally broke ground, and if it takes 20 years for an oak tree to mature itself, by 12, Sam would know his place. At 18, maybe Sam would be a good boy in the big house, but at 26, Sam's arms could be stretched around a tree that he once watered, a tree that he once watched grow from flimsy sprouts. You see, in 20 years span, Sam could have watered a tree that one day would have known Sam only as fruit.
Dang,
That's that
yeah.
taste.
The imagery in that too, and like the word choices of how you like to set up the metaphors of like everything having a meaning in that.